Hello, and welcome to another Apex Happy Hour. I am Leslie Connor, and tonight Will Sobel and I are joined by Premee Mohamed, who I have to say I'm kind of fangirling over here. I know I'm going to make you super
What?
uncomfortable right out of the gate, but you're the only author who we solicited for Robotic Ambitions who we've never published in Apex Magazine or one of our other collections or anything. And you and I had interacted on Twitter, but I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of just throwing it out there. She might be like, haha, no.
Huh, robots. Huh.
Right, like you're just like those lowly peasants at Apex. No.
Apex
Um,
peasants.
but
Has anyone actually called you guys Apex peasants?
no, but now it probably will happen. It'll
Okay,
happen
yeah.
tomorrow.
It'll tomorrow. You'll get a
um,
submission that's like, dear peasants and editors.
right, exactly.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. But when, conversations of who you're going to invite are obviously something that Jason and I talked about a lot. And I knew I wanted to ask you to be in this anthology because I kind of have a problem. Um, plus
Oh
more on
no.
my Kindle. And I was like, no, we
Thank you
need
for buying
Premee.
my books. Thank you for supporting your
Oh,
local
thank
Twitter
you for
author.
writing them because I can't help myself. As soon as I see you have a new book, I'm like, well, there's a pre-order.
Aw. So
So I
glad.
was
Thank you.
very excited because I it's it's always exciting to get to work with someone new, especially someone who I already know that I love your stuff. So
Aw.
so it's exciting. Um, but I mean, talking about that, my husband is laughing at me because he's
Hey,
like,
wave.
but
Wave at him.
you know, is there a kind of like a difference if you get these sorts of ask from people who you've not worked for, like worked with before? Because obviously it's a relationship, working between the writer and the editor and the publisher. So are there different things that you take into consideration if you've not worked with a publisher before?
Yeah, and it's been happening more over the last, I guess, year or two. Where previously I would get emails from editors that were sort of like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We just had somebody drop out of this anthology, and I need a story in 2 weeks. Um, can you provide something because you did that for me last time?" And I'm like, "Hello, you're not part of this happy hour." Sorry, the cat's showing his hiney. Yeah, it's a little bit at least on my side, it's a little bit more pressure on me um to really dig into what the editor likes and has published before. Whereas if I already kind of know the editor or we've worked together before on a book or something, then I've already got that information. So with an editor that I haven't worked with before, my first thought is, oh, homework time. I'm gonna go do my homework because there may be things that are just like a hard pass for them, and there might be things that they, maybe there's a theme that they kind of like, and maybe I can touch on that in my story, and maybe there's stories they've published a couple of before, and maybe I should stay away from that exact topic because they've already seen it, and um, yeah, I don't know. I don't leave the house much. I do a lot of homework. I try to be more conscientious if it's if it's something like this, and also for something prestigious like Apex. Like,
Oh,
well, no, I mean, like, Apex was the dream to get published in, back when I was still actually writing short stories and submitting them, like back when I had free time, which I kind of actually, I guess I'm about to have a lot more free time, but yeah, it's Apex was on my list to try to get published in, and yeah, it's kind of never happened, but now it's about to happen.
well, I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have you be part of the anthology, and I just I don't know. I can't wait. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited. This is going to be such a good anthology. Will is
I know
super excited. Sorry, Weil. Weil is super excited. Yeah.
I mess it up every time.
Yeah, it's so
Uh,
easy.
yeah. So what does your writing routine kind of look like? Like, how do you keep track of projects? Because obviously, you're writing novels and you've got things like novellas and short fiction. Like, so how do you make it all
Oh
work?
yeah, my gosh. That's something I didn't really figure out until well, probably like too late. So I had just been kind of keeping stuff in like a planner, and now instead I can't. I realized I can't go like chronologically. I almost have to go by like topic or like by responsibility. So now every couple of weeks, so you can't see it here, but there is an 8 by 11 page, like inch page, taped to the wall next to my desk, and it has a list: novels and novellas, that has 7 items; paid for young content, that has several items; short fiction, so that's all solicits, so that's got 6 items; blurbs, secret stuff, mentoring, talks, grant requests, grant reports, and escape pod stuff. Literally, it's taped to the wall.
Hey, if
And
that
that's the only
works.
way I can keep everything straight, because this this thing has 31 items on it. So that's my to-do list. God bless Maurice. Yeah, I wish I'd figured it out sooner. God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I photographed mine with my phone, so I also have it on me. Yeah, because it was getting out of control. I couldn't even like due dates alone for like short stories. I'm like, some of these are staggered by like 8 days.
I'll be honest, it's like I set the due dates for stuff for the magazine, and there's times that I'm going back and I'm going, okay, for the last issue, like, and it's the same every single issue, right? Like it's the same.
Yeah,
And
and it still sneaks up on you. Yeah.
it still stinks up on me, and I still have to figure it out every single issue when I'm handing out due dates. Because I need to just create a cheat sheet, like, interviews are due on this day. Like,
Mhm. Cheat
um,
sheets are the best. That's what mine is basically. It's a cheat sheet.
yeah, because I mean, the amount of mental brain power I put into doing backwards publishing math.
Yes.
I mean, the amount, yeah, you have to figure out, it's like, okay, well, we need to have everything done by this time, and I need this
Which
much
means,
time to,
yeah, you count backwards, count backwards, and then add the contingency couple of weeks, and then
yes, because we eat into those couple of weeks. Like, I have a
yeah.
dream to have the magazine done a full month ahead of time
Hmm.
so that we can just like, it's ready. We
Hmm.
don't have to like panic. Um, we have an issue coming out at the beginning of April.
Hmm.
I'm poking, like, I need these pieces, like the last couple lingering things, and I'm
Yeah,
like really need it, guys. So
it's fine. It's only the 14th.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm
um,
only 2 weeks behind.
I know that's not much time in magazine land. It's not much time in publishing land, I should say. It's not much time for anything.
the ch-
I,
the chat is saying that they can't hear me, so I just am gonna do an audio check for myself real quick right here, and then y'all
Are you
can
sure you don't
keep.
want to switch to like interpretive dance?
it'll be like the worst game of charades ever. Like
Yeah.
Will's over there doing stuff, and I'll be like, I have no
I
idea.
don't know what question you just asked. Okay, four words. First
16,
word is short.
16 words. Okay, we are all fixed now.
Okay, good.
um, but yeah, I have lost my train of thought. Come on, Will,
Yeah.
you're trying to provide a question, and
Uh,
you derailed us.
it's yes, I do really great at that. So we were supposed to talk Premee
Yeah.
on launch day.
Yeah, we were, but your internet cut out. That was probably an angry robot somewhere.
It was an angry me somewhere.
Oh,
About
you don't think
about
it
the
was Skynet? or anything? Or?
I'm angry at Skynet.
Okay.
Yeah. The
I
truth
think that's
is
legit.
that my internet going out is what creates the Terminator series.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Scribbling notes.
I have to say
oh,
maybe it's this anthology because we have had more issues getting the submissions to open. They were supposed to open yesterday,
I
and
saw
I
that.
was like working on it at like midnight last night before I finally just sent that like it's broken help email.
and it's still kind of broken. It's still
It's still
mostly
kind of
broken.
broken.
It's
Oh, geez.
Um,
it's up. You can see it,
Uh-huh.
but
And?
and that's
but
that's
some
it.
people
Yeah.
no, we have gotten submissions. The
Okay,
last
there
time
you
I
go.
looked, there was like we were like up to 25 already, but
Okay.
I have gotten a few people who are telling me that they're getting an error telling them that they can't submit anything over 1,000 words. And I'm like, well, that's not right. So I've gone in and looked and I'm going, it looks right on my end. So
So
after
the,
we're
the
finished
robots are
here,
out there and they're like, how about we just keep all the human submissions out? We just send in our own stories.
right, like the
All those
robots are out there, they're just like,
those writing robots.
Nope, we don't talk about the writing robots because that's too real now.
Oh, that's too real now. Yeah. That's,
true.
Yeah.
What a time to work in publishing.
Yeah.
what
It's
a time.
yeah. Anyways, other than that downer, so we were supposed to have a little chat on launch day. We
Right.
didn't get to because of my internet bummer. But we, from what I understand, we became best friends on Twitter, grieving this terrible process. And the tragedy that befell me because of this.
Yep.
But so at the time, I was going to ask you a few things. I was going to ask, you know, about kind of where your relationship with robots and like writing robots, writing from the technological point of view, comes from.
Hmm. Oh, that's a question, certainly. Yeah, I guess because I find myself a lot more in kind of the fantasy and weird and horror space. I haven't really written a lot about robots or artificial intelligences. There are robots in some of my stories, but they're very much still at the kind of at the tool stage. So like in the Beneath the Horizon series, there's Chembot, and all Chembot does is come up with molecules and then try to synthesize them. And once it accidentally sampled part of Johnny's arm, and it's not like it's not artificial intelligence by any means. Um, it's not even really machine learning. It's just something that can like shuffle a deck of molecular cards really fast and flip hands out onto the table really fast. And that was kind of the initial goal when humanity developed robots, and the idea of robots, right, was, well, we'll just get them to do things that we could do but faster and easier, and maybe they can do things that are dangerous for humans, and we could just stop there. But no, we had to go give them personalities and brains.
We can never stop at a good thing. We gotta just
We
take
can't
it.
stop any good thing.
Foolish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I guess the perspective I'm coming from for my eventual story is going to be something like, what do we call intelligence when we see it in a non-human creature? And are we going to use those same criteria if we see it developing in a piece of code, right? So if we say intelligence is the ability to um, gather, synthesize, and comprehend information, and evaluate it and use it in a way to solve novel problems that it has not, that the person or whatever has not encountered before. And if we say you're good at that, then you've got high intelligence, and if you're bad at that, then you have low intelligence. Um, it's kind of that's kind of a very limiting property for AI, because the amount of information that they can take in and synthesize is only going to be limited by what we, by the limits that we put on it. So if we were to turn something loose and just say, your brief is to become as intelligent as you can, however you want to interpret that, kind of what's going to happen there? like I know we talk a lot about AI arts and AI um, stories and fiction and bad financial advice articles and things like that. That's not AI. That's machine learning. It's taking stuff and it's doing the same thing. It's shuffling the deck of cards and throwing out a hand that it's been taught kind of looks like a hand. But if we get to real artificial intelligence, what is that going to look like? I would like to write about that and kind of how we respond. Hopefully, humanity will not like freak out, but I guess that's up to the AI.
See, and now I'm like, I want you to write that.
It's almost going to be like a first contact story because
Yeah.
it'll be us contacting an intelligence that is not human.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're not imputing human qualities to like animals. It'll be like encountering an alien, and we're going to find out what it would be like if humanity really encountered aliens and not like in the X-Files.
What was your dig at showing your kind of hand a stab at the AI generated art because they can't do fingers?
Oh no, it wasn't. But I actually thought of that because that's man, they're so bad at that.
Well, I mean that's one of the like jokes.
There's fingers everywhere.
Yeah, it's
I
one.
meant hand like in cards.
Yeah, I thought you were doing like a double. I mean, it's not a double entendre, but play on
An
words.
interpretive dance.
An interpretive dance. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I would not do that because then one of them would shut down my internet. So
Yes, they'll be after you next.
like, how do we know for sure one isn't listening to us right now and going, I'm going to steal that idea from my story for the anthology?
I I I have worries. I mean, our open call period is very short, so I'm
Mhm.
hoping we don't get on some list that's like, send all your AI stories here.
Yeah,
But man,
perfect.
that is as an editor, that is in the back of my head. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly watching the magazine submissions, like, do we have a weird spike that we
Mhm.
can't account for and everything?
Yeah.
Um, so hopefully our open call is short enough that
That you
that
won't end
only
up
the
like on
real
one of
people
those
can get.
articles where it's like, scammers, read this.
Right, exactly. Where they're like,
Like poor
get
Clark
rich
Squirrel
quick,
kids.
submit
Yeah.
to this anthology. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
first of all,
First of all, short
no
fiction
one
is
in
not where you go if you want to get rich quick. In
right.
1927, if you sold a short story, it would pay your rent for 6 months. Now, if you sell a short story, you might be able to order in a nice pizza dinner.
Maybe. I mean,
Depends on the
depends.
venue.
I was gonna say depends on where you get it.
Because some
But
places are
yeah.
like, here's $10 in an author's copy. I'm like, thank you for the $10.
$10,
I
Little Caesars it is.
Exactly.
It's so funny because that you
I'm gonna
say
get
that, like
cheesy
in the
breads.
past, how people could live off of selling short stories and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I just finished listening to the audiobook of Monsters She Wrote,
Hmm.
and the amount of times that they're talking about these women writers who were
Yeah.
supporting their families on writing short fiction or writing
Yeah.
like noir or detective stories, and I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
they
Well,
lived the dream.
I read I read something. Maybe it was just a tweet thread the other day. I guess in Little Women, which I haven't read, one of the characters sells a short story for $100, and then someone did the currency conversion, and they're like, "This is like $9,000."
Yeah,
Like,
Joe. I
yeah. Uh, and actually, okay, I don't not think that right now, if you sell to one of the really big venues, they're paying in the thousands. And I know because I managed to sell one of those last year to Slate.
yeah.
It wasn't $9,000, but it was like magnitude, like orders of magnitude larger than I'd ever been paid for a short story. And I was like, so this, if you manage to sell like 12 of these a year to these very big name venues, maybe you can make a living. But if I was a scammer, I would go for something easier. Like,
Yeah,
there's
I
got to
don't
be an easier way. Short fiction is not it, my
the
dudes. It is not
the
it.
the amount of, like, when all of this started first, like hearing about it, I'm like, who would think you could? And then I'm like, well, obviously they've never actually.
Yeah. Either that or they're counting on kind of the whole spam effect. They're like, if I spam 10,000 people, for pennies or whatever, and one of them falls for it and I make $100, then it's so worth it. So now I guess they've got, they've written scripts to like generate the fake email address, generate the fake cover letter, generate the fake story and then send it off automatically. So it's not like costing them anything. And they're just hoping one's going to slip through the net out of 10,000 submissions or something. Good times.
I mean, it is
Oh,
costing them.
what good times to be in short fiction.
It's costing them their decency. You know, there's that. But I mean,
Yeah,
what's that worth?
yeah,
Apparently.
Apparently, yeah, it's costing them like the rest of the sci-fi, fantasy, and horror community, hexing them 24/7 and hoping that the gods will strike them down for their hubris. I mean, not that I personally am hoping for that or casting spells for that or anything.
Sure.
Summoning
Of
demons
course.
for that. No, nothing like that.
Nothing you would admit like that on stream. No, of course not.
You're like, I'm glad you guys can't see on the other side of this computer.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like, glad you can't see the rest of the room or the salt recording.
It's just, I don't know. It's a very weird, bizarre thing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm an assistant editor at Escape Pod, and so we had an editorial meeting the other day to kind of chat about this and get everybody's opinions. And I don't, we didn't really land anywhere at the moment because Escape Pod is not, I don't think, seeing that type of story being submitted. We didn't end up on one of those articles that was like, scam this list of venues. I don't think we're on that. But we were also kind of like, our great fear is not the risk of false negatives, something getting through. It really is the risk of false positives. So, how do we know your story is just incredibly badly written versus how do we know your story is written by one of these machine learning models? And I think in the end, we kind of settled on, well, it doesn't matter because we're not going to put anybody on a block list. We're not going to put anything in the rejection, and we're not going to buy the story. So it's the same effect either way, and nobody's feelings get hurt.
I know that there was a lot of conversation among our first readers just because this intense worry of what if I don't know?
Yeah, and everybody. The big problem there is every freaking body on Twitter is like, oh, you'll know it when you see it. What if we don't? Because I read some of those stories and I was like, this does not strike me as written by machine learning. This just strikes me as bad. This strikes me as a bad writer wrote this. Oh my god! I ran.
But that's what I finally I told him. I was like, you guys don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're not going to bump them anyway.
Right. Like if you feel like it's good enough to get bumped up to the next level, don't stress. I don't want you putting in extra work, or mental energy into it, because let's face it, first readers, they got a lot of work anyways. Let's not add extra on top of it.
Let's not pile anything on top of that. They're doing a very hard job. My job is actually easier now because I'm at the second level where the first readers have gone through stuff already and passed it up to us to pass on to our acquiring editors. So a lot of the maybe possibly, we don't know, questionable stories are already long gone.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I told her. I was like, I think
also the thing is that's not going to be the case forever. So we do have to think about it. And when it changes, like I was saying, when it changes, it's going to change extremely fast.
Yeah.
It is going to be a matter of probably weeks. When somebody's machine learning text generating model goes from this is so bad I can identify it instantly to I might consider publishing this, it's going to be like 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that it's going to change super fast, and I think that it's good that it's on so many people's minds right now because we're all having those conversations with our team. Like, how are we going to handle it? And I think here's the thing. I think at some point somebody's going to get one through.
I think so.
And we won't know until they're bragging.
Yeah.
To all their
bragging about their $190 or whatever.
Right. Like they're like, look at this.
So like my big payday, big cash money, and we'll be like,
look, you got Little Caesars. Good for you.
Yeah. Good for you. Oh, are you gonna go out and buy some Bored Apes or something, or are you guys all done with that now?
So, but I mean,
I don't know what those scammers are buying these days.
I don't think that we all need to be aware, but at the same time, I think we can't stress that much because it would drive you nuts.
Yeah. You know what I think people should do though is I think people should actually start magazines for machine generated text. That way people can submit to those and see if theirs gets through. And people who like to read that kind of writing can read those.
I think I saw a Kickstarter for an anthology of AI generated
There you
story.
go. I'll fix it.
Does that
Wha-
sound?
Wow.
I've never
Do you
seen
see-
it, but yeah.
Am I the only person who saw that?
I
Did
hope
I make
so.
it up?
I hope so.
I don't know.
No, I think
I'm not kicking in any pennies to it. Sorry.
Right, yeah, like
Yeah.
because I've been on Kickstarter a lot because we're running a
Mhm.
Kickstarter, and so I clicked through and I was like, well, that's a
That's
thing.
I hope you didn't see it. I hope it was a nightmare that you had. I hope it was some
That-
kind of stress dream that is not real.
That is also
Yeah.
very possible.
That's
Like,
possible. Like if we go on Kickstarter now and can't find it, we'll be like,
Oh, thanks.
somebody's gonna throw the link in the comments
our
now. They're gonna-
Kickstarter for Robotic Ambitions funded, right? We're headed towards stretch goals.
Yes, we are headed
Go
towards.
team!
We've unlocked one of our stretch goals.
So
Right.
we actually, since this has started, it's happy
Yeah.
hour right now, we have unlocked
Yeah.
another stretch goal.
Oh my god, go team!
Yay!
Yay! High five. Human high five.
human-
With our human hands.
Yeah.
Look how many fingers we have. It's
So
not like 17 fingers.
I had to run over to we're all like, do I have fingers or am I AI?
Oh my God.
I see that I'm
Is this
AI
what you're
generated.
watching? Yeah.
Right.
So we unlocked a new short story from Jason Sanford,
Hey.
which will be set in the world of his novel Plague Birds, which is also published by Apex, which brings us that much closer to the golden stretch goal, the one that
I would call it that. It is the
golden stretch goal. It's the one that we have been hyped up the most for in Apex office, I guess you would say, the behind the scenes Apex team, because it is it's two rewards really. The first is a Q&A interview that we did with Ogana Chavwe. And then the second part is that Robotic Ambitions will be graced with a guest forward by Martha Wells.
Oh my god.
So
I
super
never saw that
excited.
one. Oh, that's super
Yeah.
exciting. That's so exciting.
yeah, yes,
That's pretty much how we all like when we were like, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yay.
yeah. I
that's
had
so cool.
I had floated
that
this
one.
idea by Jason to be like, yeah, we could do like a guest,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. That'd be a cool stretch goal. And then one day we were just all talking in our little office chat, and Jason was like, blah, 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 Martha Wells. And we were like, whoa, wait. You can't just,
Go back.
you can't just drop a bomb like this on us.
Oh my god.
So we're all pretty excited.
Oh, fingers crossed we get to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met Martha Wells. However, I love her, and I would have a little shrine to her in my house if it weren't so small.
That's
And I bought all the Murderbot books, although I haven't read them yet because there are too many books in the world. But I love her especially because she recused herself from the Nebula's novella category, which is the only reason I won a Nebula. Literally, that's the reason.
Wow.
You have like a special place for Martha Wells in your heart.
Yeah, she has a special place in my heart forever because that was such a fabulously uncalled for and gracious thing to do for emerging writers that wouldn't have got on the ballot otherwise. Like, she is the reason I have that extremely heavy, weighty object on my shelf that you could absolutely kill somebody with.
I mean,
the cat
she's
hates it because
amazing.
he can't knock it over, which is hilarious. It's much heavier than the cat.
I-
He literally, like, when I put it up there, he was like, "Arr!" I'm like,
gotcha.
no sympathy. It's like twice as heavy as him.
Now the cat's gonna be like doing a weightlifting routine.
Yeah,
Like I
I'll
must
catch
be
him in
able
the
to push
background.
it.
He's like, I'm gonna get swole.
It's like, who's the Nebula
Not
winner
everybody
now?
else. Yeah. Yeah, it's always very suspicious if the cat was in the room and then he's not in the room, and you're like, what are you knocking over? What are you touching? What are you licking? What are you digging? Get out of the hamper. Let me list the list of your potential crimes if I haven't actually got my eyes on you.
That's what I have to say. I mean, it's nice. Oz, if he's not right in my face, I know he's napping on my pajamas on my bed. Like, it's very easy to find him. He's like, I'm gonna go nap. Like, all
Yeah, this
right.
cat sleeps the least out of any cat I think I've ever met personally. Like, I thought house cats were supposed to sleep like 15 to 17 hours a day. He seems to never sleep. Like, he'll cat nap for like 15 minutes, and then he's up and he's like, crime time, time for crimes. Back in a minute. I'm gonna go do a crime. Like, he's got like this mental list of crimes that he's got to do, and he can't stand to be asleep because then he's not doing them.
He has his own like list,
It's
like
Yeah.
on the wall behind his
On
litter
the
box.
wall. Yeah, his list has more than 30 things.
It's called efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, you can only win so many awards, right? Like before, it's like, okay, I need to recuse myself. You know, I like this is like, you know, like I love Murderbot.
Well, I love Murderbot too, which sounds weird if you don't know what it is. Because as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, he doesn't know what Murderbot is.
It does have the word murder in it.
Right? Yeah, like I love Murderbot. I'm Murderbot. But anyway, yeah, you do after a point, because let's face it, like genre fans go hardcore for things that they love. And so if you have a very successful series like Murderbot, as new ones come back, they're going to be like, yep, that one.
Yeah, vote. Yeah.
Especially when they're novellas like that, and for a while she was cranking them out like once a year, and it's like, okay, it's award season. Which Murderbot do we get to nominate this year?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's very, very nice of her that she was like, all right, let's let somebody else do it.
Thank you.
You're like, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and especially because, you know, I looked at the Hugos novella slate for that year, and every single one was a Tor.com novella. There were no small press novellas on there whatsoever. Like, literally the entire thing was Tor.com. I took a screenshot of it. And I was like, okay, so I guess small presses never put out good work. I don't have a hope of winning anything because my novella was with the small press, and then it won the Nebula, and I was like, what happened? And what happened was Martha Willis happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that Leslie and I both have feelings about the way that the awards and the way that they treat publishing and something.
I'm looking at Will watching him getting more and more uncomfortable as he
yeah, I'm like, yeah, I could say
this.
Yeah, never mind. I shouldn't have.
Never mind. I'm like, I don't have enough rum in this drink to continue discussing that, so we should talk about something else.
Well, okay, but one of the things you did talk about is that you have the Murderbot books, but you haven't read them because there's too many books in the world. And I totally get that, because there are certain authors, and I just need to know whether I'm the only person that does this. There are certain authors whose books that I'm like, ooh, immediately buy. But then I never read because I'm like, I know I'm going to love them so much that I'm like, I need to hold on to it.
On my Kindle, I have 2 full pages of Adrian Tchaikovsky books. And I haven't read any of them. I buy them as soon as they come out. And I like Adrian. And he also bought me drinks at Worldcon in 2019, which is a super good way to get on my good side. Oh, and he watched my drinks while I went pee, because there were several, shifty people around, and you don't want somebody not watching your drinks. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, I was buying these books before that, so I was very excited to meet him. So I keep buying them, and I'm like, I'm saving these for when I really have the brain power and the cognitive capacity to love them as much as I already know I will love them, even just based on the premise. So now I have like 20 books and I haven't read them.
No, I mean, I know exactly what you mean. Alex E. Harrow, I have every book. Now, I did read A Splintered because I got an early copy to review for Apex, and I loved it. And then I have like been forcefully shoving that book at everybody that like I can find. Were you part of crimes?
Somebody is under the desk. I'm not naming names, I'm just saying somebody.
Some criminal is under the desk.
Just tried to put his paw down the top of my sock, which, okay, that's a choice. I don't know what you're expecting to find down there, bro, because it's my feet.
But yeah, I have every one of Alex's books just like
Mhm.
sitting on my shelf. Like one day I am gonna
One day.
need the book that's
I
just gonna
don't know
like
what day
warm my
it is.
heart and
Yeah.
break it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting.
I'm very, yeah, and I'm very much one of those like mood readers. Like, I have to be in the right headspace for a book. Otherwise, I'm already aware that if I start it, I'm going to hate it, and that's not going to be fair on the book. Because if I started it 8 months from now, when I was in a different mood, I might love it.
Oh my god,
So I
I
read like 70 books a year, and they're all just entirely based on vibes, not actually reducing my to be read list.
Uh-huh.
I I did the same thing last year. Okay, so I started reading this book. It's the third book in a big series, and I was like, love the first two books. Read the third one, got like 100 pages in, and I was like, why am I not vibing with this? And then I put it down for like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, it's because I was like just not in the mood for this. Like I was cranky, and
Yeah.
9 months later, I saw this book just like on my windowsill because I didn't put it away like a normal person. It's just in a
Yeah.
pile somewhere. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to give that another shot. Picked up from like the page 100 that I was on and finished it in like 3 days. And I was like, yeah, this book was pretty good. I was like, I was just cranky.
Yeah. And that's the
I
thing
do
about vibes, right? The vibes have to match up. It can't just be like you vibing and the book vibing and, getting that like interference pattern where it's like, very high highs and very low lows. Yeah.
I do this thing where I get on a kick of where I want to read one type of book, and then I like binge request a whole bunch from the library until I have like 11 of them staring at me, and I'm like, that's not what I want to read
No, I don't
anymore.
want to read those anymore. I only wanted them
So-
when I requested them.
right. Oh yeah. So like I
Yeah.
have like, I'm not even kidding, like 11 cozy mysteries um sitting on my kitchen table, and now I am ignoring them and reading like Victorian ghost stories. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
I
and
do
I
that.
keep waiting. I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe
I
I'll
keep
get to
doing
them.
that with Libby, like just borrowing ebooks from the library. And then when the hold comes off them or whatever and they arrive, I'm like, I'm not in the mood anymore. So, I usually give them like a couple days to see if I get into the mood. So yeah, they basically come and they take a short vacation on my phone and then they leave again. Hope you
Well,
guys enjoyed your time here.
I always try to make myself feel better because I'm like, well, I'm helping the library system
Yeah.
by
Like, you have to get things
requesting
in
these
circulation.
books.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm getting their circulation numbers
Yeah.
up.
Well, and as a Canadian, I also appreciate when, my Canadian readers request my book for libraries because we have PLR here, which is public lending, right? And so you get money if your book is in a library, and you
Nice.
don't if you don't. Um, so even if people are requesting the book, like, or requesting that their library buy the book, and when they get it, they're like, I'm getting some bad vibes off this, I'm giving it back. I might still get some money because the library
Nice.
has the book. It's not per borrow, and it's not like how long it's in circulation or how many days it's forward or whatever. If they do a random audit of libraries, they choose a certain number of libraries every year out of the thousands of libraries in Canada, and they check for your book. And if your book is in that library, you get a bit of money. So it's like playing the
Neat.
lottery, and the more books are in the more libraries, the better chances you have of winning one of those tosses.
Author lottery.
That's really super interesting because I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm in a lot of like Facebook reader groups, and people will be like,
Mhm.
"Where can you get free books?" And I'm like, "At the library."
At the library. Yeah.
But I do very often request that my library buy books.
Sorry.
And I mean, I have a wonderful, wonderful library system in my county and state. Um, but I'm always like, well, they're getting paid that way, and hopefully they'll find new readers. I always have to justify it to myself why I'm not buying, but I really can't fit more books in my house without like getting rid of
not with that
started
attitude.
buying those like standing bookcases so you can just put them around the house like vases. So instead of flowers,
I've
you
been
got
scoping
books.
that out.
Yeah.
I have like 3 more of these to put together.
So I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was like a knife block with some board games on it, and I was like, I don't understand.
No,
Like
those are books.
I don't get
Yeah.
it, but like I'm also not here to like judge your art. So I was like,
your face is so judgy. You're like, well, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. However, I am judging it, and I wasn't going to say anything, but it's too late now. I apparently have.
no, what? Ah! Ah! What?
Will's not going to do any more happy hours with us.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I am not here.
I thought we were friends.
Me running out of shelf space and trying to find other flat surface space. I need actual, like, real grown-up bookshelves instead of, like, the short fiberboard ones that have been through, like, 12 moves. Because they're all starting to look kind of janky, and they're all kind of starting to fall apart.
IKEA. I swear by them. I swear by the IKEA shelves. And, like, this is not about to turn into an infomercial, except it is. And, like, IKEA has such good shelves that they have, like, gotten a stranglehold over the board game community. I know that's a really weird pivot, but, like, everyone in all the Facebook group, the board game Facebook groups that I'm in are all like, do you have this one specific shelf from IKEA? Well, then you're not a real board gamer. And I was like,
oh, wow.
What?
Like, am I not a real... I gotta get to IKEA.
I'm not a real board gamer because I don't have a Kallax. Like,
I'm a fraud.
Yeah. It's like the worst kind of imposter syndrome.
It is, actually. It's imposter syndrome.
My dad does woodworking, so I have been very, very good over the years being like, Dad, I need a bookcase that fits this very specific space.
Nice.
So down our hallway, I have like 9 feet of bookcases that are like 7.5 feet tall, but they're very narrow because it's in the hallway. And he was just here a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I really need some more because I'm running out of nonfiction space. Like, I have giant stacks on top of the bookcases. And so he was like taking measurements, and my mom's like, he needs to be building me something. And I was like, no, I really need more bookcases.
It's good if it keeps busy. It keeps me out of trouble.
Out of trouble.
Dads need projects. That's almost like the rule.
Can I circle back? How tall did you say these were?
They're 7.5 feet tall, and it's 9 feet long. They go to the ceiling. Like, there's only like this much room between the ceiling and the top.
And
I'm jealous.
That's so crazy. I'm like 5'4". I could not see the top of these shelves. How do you get things up there?
Yeah, me too. I'm
the top shelf is all Apex titles, so I'm not pulling those off. Like, to read, like, I'm not browsing those. I know what's there.
So you browse the lower shelves.
So I can browse the lower shelves, yeah.
Wait, we're getting tossed on the top? You don't need to reference them. You work here.
I work here. I'm sure I can find an ebook copy.
Every single word that's in those copies. I am sure.
So they're on the very top, and everything else is alphabetized by author last name.
Mine are arranged by height because all my books are different heights and all my shelves are different heights.
I used to arrange mine by height because it's very satisfying seeing that gentle slope downward. But then I could not find books, and I have been known on multiple occasions to go to the bookstore and be like, oh, this book looks good. And then like 3 months later realize I already had it. Whereas now, if I come home immediately, I'm like, oh, I already have it because you're where it's supposed to be on the shelf.
Nice.
I mean, doesn't help. I still then have 2 copies of the book, but...
I don't think I realized how many books I had until I moved into this house because, of course, then you have to pack them. Pack every book you own into a box, and then you're like, now is a really good opportunity for me to get rid of some books. Yeah, I got rid of like 5. Maybe five, 6, something like that. I threw them into the recycling bin, and I was like, okay, I'm keeping the rest. And my movers were like, we're in pain. I'm like, I told you you'd be in pain.
You should have come prepared to be in pain.
Yeah, I warned you. I literally warned you. There were like 3 emails where I was like, no, I'm serious. I have a lot of books. They're all going to be in small boxes, but I have a lot. They're like, oh, sure, we've moved lots of books. I have more than that. Yeah.
You're like, I don't mean a normal a lot.
Yeah, I don't mean a normal a lot. I mean like a writer a lot. And they're like, you're incoherent. Are you sure you're a writer? That was a perfectly reasonable sentence. Look, just pick up my stuff and carry it to the place, and I'll pay you money.
But also, being incoherent is like, that's kind of part of the. That's part of it.
I don't know any writers that can actually like talk. All we can do is write.
There have been times when people have been like, "Can we have a call?" And I'm like, "No." Can we do it over email?
Yeah, this meeting should have been an email.
All of these meetings should have been email, except for happy hour, which should not be an email because we need to drink on camera.
That's true.
Finish my drink, but you know what I mean.
Speaking of happy hour, for everybody watching, this is your 10-minute if you have any burning questions reminder. Burning questions that you need to ask before we're like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
are people actually like saying anything? Is anyone actually watching this? Are people saying stuff in chat?
Yeah, we actually have a fairly lively chat. A lot of it is judging me for being judgmental, which like is no, it's good, it's valid, I get it.
I'm sorry. That was my fault for doing that 30-second modern art sketch, I think.
It's good. It was a good little bit. And I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I can be that. I can be that person. That's fine.
I'll just be that guy, and I'm never coming to your house. That's all.
Yeah. Premee will never be invited back to happy hour ever again, and from now on, happy
I'll
hour.
never be invited to an anthology ever again either.
From now on, happy hour is just gonna be Leslie.
Just Leslie getting drunk on camera as I show you all my bookcases.
And maybe answering questions in the chat while getting drunk on camera.
Maybe. As I slowly just pan bookcases and I'm going, I've read this one, I haven't read this one, I haven't read this one.
I was going to read this one, but then I read this one, which is very similar. Then I read this one. Oh my God. So a friend came over, over the Christmas break. She lives about 2,000 miles away or something. She was very excited to see the new house and, all the books and stuff that got set up. And we were talking in the living room where a lot of my books live, but not all because I have too many books. And she started discussing this out-of-date book that she had recently read before a trip and getting very excited about it. And I'm looking over her shoulder and she's like, what? I'm like, I have a copy of that. It's behind you. It's Pubs of London 2002. She's like, what the shit? She's like, this is the exact book I was talking about. Do you just own every book? I'm like, I do not. This is a coincidence, but we both like drinking. It's reasonable that the book would be there, and she wouldn't listen to anything I said. She's like, you're a witch! A witch! Are you heavier than a piece of wood?
Oh, goodness.
It was a very satisfying moment. Like, I love when people come over and they're chatting about a book, and I'm like, I actually have a copy of that. It's over there.
My friends and I will go to bookstores, and sometimes like I'll be like, oh, I'm not buying anything today, but we walk through and I'm like, oh, this one's really good. This one's really good. And then they end up buying a lot.
We're keeping
I'm
the
like,
economy
I feel
going.
like I should get commissioned.
Yeah.
Hire me, Barnes and Noble. Hire me.
God, the dream.
So
working somewhere where you get a discount on books.
I would never have any money to come home after the discount.
Yeah, no, my entire paycheck would go in there. My brother actually used to work at Chapters, and up here in Canada, I don't know if you guys have the same thing down in the States, Chapters Indigo, but he got like an enormous employee discount on books. I think it was like 65% or something.
Whoa.
So I was buying like the big expensive like coffee table books and like the photography books about architecture and dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then he quit and I was miserable.
You're like, wow, don't you ever think about me?
Didn't you think about me? Yeah, it's he's like, what? No. I'm like, oh, my books. Like, don't you have enough books?
No. The answer is always no.
It's like you've never met me. And he never bought books. Like, he was just letting me use the employee discount. Like,
crazy. Insanity. I couldn't do that.
I don't think we're related. I think he's adopted. I think he's probably adopted.
So if anyone has questions for Premee, throw them in the chat. We're gonna start out with one. Are you ready, Premee?
No? Yes? Yes, I'm ready.
If you could write for any IP or license, what would it be?
Godzilla. The Godzilla universe.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
I think that's the second person in like a month to answer with Godzilla. That's crazy.
Yeah. I have so many Godzilla universe ideas, but I also don't think I'm the person to write in that universe. I think that should be someone with the cultural background and knowledge to actually be able to write, a Japanese person, some of the Japanese diaspora. It should not be me, but it is my biggest obsession. It's the thing I love the most. It's the
I
IP I
love
love the
how
most.
quickly you knew that answer.
You were just
There was not even a pause. Like
A
usually
day
people
does
are
not
like,
go by when I don't add to that file in my Google Drive of the things I want to write in the Godzilla universe. And you should be at this moment like, why don't you just write fanfic? I'm busy. I'm tired. I just keep it all in my head. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I might die.
mood.
I literally have a book due on April 30th. Like, I should probably write that.
Hey, you've got 6 weeks. You're fine still.
Exactly.
You're fine still.
I think it's lots
I
of time.
I have something due tomorrow, and I started it this morning. So
good job. I have something that
Shouldn't
was
you be,
due
like, writing
to you. When was I supposed to turn in that essay? Because I've not finished it yet.
yeah,
It's way past you.
Yeah, you were supposed to give that to me like 2 Fridays ago.
Yeah, it's not done. I've
I
got
can-
plans to put out before.
I think tonight what we should do is all have like another drink and then go work on our projects.
No.
I
Nope,
also have
I'm-
to say the drink that I was drinking was again it was supposed to be rum and coke. I actually don't have any coke, so it was rum and root beer, and it turned out to be delicious.
Oh, that does
I'm
sound-
always going to mix. It's also it's a weird local root beer, and
Ooh.
it's like not very sweet, so it mixes really well with the rum.
Hmm.
I'm
I
always
really
going to drink
like.
that now.
Honestly, you had me at rum. I really like rum.
I
So
like rum. Yeah, this was
I
rum that a
like,
friend
yeah, whatever
brought
you
back
mix
for
it
me
with.
from Cuba. So
Do you that would be excellent in a root beer float. Like
oh, yeah.
if it was
yeah,
if
that would
it's
be
light
amazing.
light on the
like
sweetness.
a hard root beer float.
Oh.
That'd be so good.
That'd be
That'd
so
be
good.
So good. Yeah.
So what's the next convention y'all are?
I want specifically a hard root beer float with rum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could make that happen. We need to make that happen.
I think maybe we should have another like Apex happy hour. How much time is left in the Kickstarter?
8 days.
I-
We're getting there. We're getting there. So, a week from tomorrow we'll be done.
Oh my God.
Kickstarters are weird with time because in one place they feel like forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we've just been kickstarting this. This is just my life. That's all I've done. And then at the same time, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's over in 8
What?
days.
It's only 8 days left. Come on, people.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
very
some
weird.
of y'all still have jobs.
For
They can.
for us in particular, it feels
Mhm.
like forever because we have been planning Robotic Ambitions since October.
yeah, it
Like-
has been a long time.
Like
Yeah.
we this one has been just a long like trying to get all the pieces in place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It has been a while because we sat down last year and we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? What does Apex look like next year? Like, what's our game plan? And it was like, okay, well, we're doing this. We're doing other anthologies that we have not talked about quite yet, but maybe Will has a little teaser sometime in the next 8 days about what that's gonna be. But yeah, this one I feel like has taken up so much of my life.
It's your mental brain space where you're like, and then
Now a robot lives there.
and it's like it lives there, and you just have
Yeah.
to keep working on it. But all this other stuff is going
Yeah.
on too.
It's like restoring a car or something. I don't know. I also just remembered I do have a robot sort of in one of my stories from last year, but it's a drone. It's a firefighting drone.
I'm
and
excited.
It doesn't
mean,
really
it
have a
doesn't-
personality, but it's very cute. And the thing about humans is we'll pack bond with anything, which is why we started giving robots personalities instead of just saying, go get some ore off that mining vein over there. Thanks. And then bring it back in a wheelbarrow. Thanks.
I don't know. I think that
my robot vacuum at home has a name. It has googly eyes. It's like my buddy. It was my closest buddy during the pandemic. I was talking to it as it like ran across the board. Humans bond with things. That's what we do.
Normal pandemic things.
Normal pandemic things, yeah.
nothing was normal in the pandemic.
The pandemic is still going on and nothing is still normal, but at least now I can talk to the cat instead of talking to Trilobot.
I don't think that's different. I don't know that that's
different because cats are practically people. Pretty close. They're just people that walk.
Like on what's the scale here?
Well, he's not hugely different from having a slacker roommate. He eats my food. He doesn't contribute to the bills. He sasses me back constantly. I'm always cleaning up after him. He messes up the house. He doesn't wear pants. My friends think he's extremely cute. He isn't job hunting. He doesn't intend to. Whenever you ask him, he says he's still working on his portfolio. So, like, I have an unemployed slacker artist.
Wait, no, go back to that last point.
He says he's working on his portfolio. He's been saying that since July.
Your cat has?
Yeah, more or less.
Well, it's on his to-do list.
It's on his to-do list. It's just he hasn't gotten to that item yet.
I thought that his to-do list was all crime. Is this portfolio?
Well, that's why he hasn't
not job hunting is a crime.
Right. Okay. See, I see where I made the mistake here. It's because the portfolio that he's trying to make is a portfolio of all his crime.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Gotcha.
a crime portfolio.
It's actually postmodernism, I think.
So I had in mind like one thing where I was gonna be like, haha, gotcha, Premee. Like the difference between your roommate and a cat is that the cat doesn't have thumbs. And, like, my one thing just does not stack up against your, like, mountain of evidence, so...
Yeah, he doesn't have thumbs, but lots of cats do have thumbs, which is cute, because then they can give you a thumbs up. Those polydactyl cats?
Mm-hmm.
They have thumbs. And, yeah, it's, he does have toes, though, and he also uses toes for crime. Like, if you're trying to take a nap, he'll, like, put them gently in your ear. You're like, and you wake up screaming, because he just does that. Why would you put your toes in somebody's ear?
Yeah.
Why would you put your toes in somebody's belly button? Like, what? That's not a toy, first of all. Can somebody reason with cats? They don't have boundaries? Oh, but their boundaries are like, oh, you can't violate this.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm just going to pick you up and move you then. Because you weigh 8 pounds. Sorry.
Okay. We've got.
Do we have any other burning questions?
We do. We have a burning question from the audience. From Jen Donahue. Is Fiasco Banksy?
He might be Banksy, and I don't know for sure that he is not. He is often unaccounted for, and those are periods when I assume that he's in the basement with the basement monsters. But I can't go check because basement monsters. So.
It does. Is Fiasco allowed to use the color black?
The word allowed has quite a range of meanings when you own a cat.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually gotten into any like lawsuits with that guy. What's his name? The Vanta Black guy?
Yeah, the Vanta Black guy.
I think he's been involved in a bunch of lawsuits, but I don't think they're related to paint.
Uh-huh.
He has a lawyer. His lawyer is a green mousey. I asked. Will's
like, and I'm done.
He's like, I'm done, but I'm not done judging you. And in fact, I'm going to write a novel about how hard I am judging you, and I'll just change your name slightly. So this will be like, the novel is called Judging Amy Mohamed.
Anish Kapoor. That's
he's gonna do it.
Anish Kapoor. Don't put words in my mouth, but yes. Anish Kapoor is the guy's name. Jen in the chat. Got it.
I'll see you later for libel.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And then I'm gonna make a story that legally you can't read. And I'm
and it'll be like in Vanta Black on Vanta Black. I'll be like
the Vanta Black Throne. So, something like that. The Vanta
Yeah.
Black robot. That's I'm gonna.
Vanta Black Tower. Yeah. See, we don't need artificial intelligence. We have our intelligence, which is
which is
obviously
low. Which is low.
low but entertaining.
Low but entertaining. That's
Low but entertaining.
and that's really what matters.
I think it's important to have standards.
It's like our tagline, low but entertaining.
Like, people ask writers, what do you do if your story isn't turning out right, or it doesn't look the way you want, or it's not jiving with what's in your head? And you say, I lower my standards. And then if it still doesn't work, I keep lowering my standards.
And then
I can do it again.
and some of you
no floor.
Yeah, some of you might ask, where's the floor? And the truth is that I'd rather dig.
I'd rather dig. I'm gonna dig. I will dig to the core of the earth to keep lowering those standards. Like, there is a bar to clear. It's just the bar can go lower.
Yeah. Good. What do you mean your standards are so low? Well, I just made a joke about writing a story about Vanta Black that Premee can't read, so like, take that for what it's worth, you know.
I'll get somebody to like buy it and read it for me. There are ways around things.
There's laws that he can't do that. Like he can't find ways to he can't find ways to consume it in any way.
That's amazing.
Is
Amazing.
it?
It's like the funniest running gag in like the history of anything, and I don't know.
100%. Like, the art world is
like, how did it get this bad? It just did.
I don't know. First he made a bean, and now
Then we lost the plot.
Yeah.
We said, what plot?
What plot?
Things are just happening
and
now.
then a bunch of people crash landed from a plane onto an island, and J.J. Abrams told me that it was purgatory or something.
Yeah, or something. We're not sure.
We're not sure. Anyways, so it's 8:05. So
which means it's about time to wrap up.
So we should stop doing whatever this was.
Before we get sued by somebody who's like, you said Vanta Black. I didn't allow you to say Vanta Black.
Apex has nothing to do with Vanta Black. If I need to put some legalese here, like,
have nothing to do with Vanta Black.
We don't.
I've never.
Yeah.
I don't eat Vanta Black.
Anyways, go back. Robotic Ambitions. We unlocked a stretch goal while we were talking about this. You'll get an amazing robot story by Premee, edited by Leslie and also Jason Sizemore, who is not here with us today, along with a bunch of other really great featured authors. And our submission portal is now up for those writers who want to try their hand at getting into Robotic Ambitions. It is up to 5,000 words, even though if the portal tells you that that's wrong, it's wrong.
And
if
just tells you that, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm on the hunt to figure out why it's being mean to us.
Yes, it's very mean and cruel to us, but Leslie's gonna fix it. Be patient with us while we try and get there. And we've only got 8 more days, so get in there before your time's up. You can read, if you back, you can read A Still Life by Elliot Wink right away. That has been available since day 1. It'll be one of the stories that we have in the anthology. You can check out our happy hour from last week where we talked to Elliot Wink. And then as of this week, we unlocked a stretch goal essay by Gerald Coleman. And we asked all of our essayists to talk about the intersection of technology, AI, robotics with their life. And so Gerald wrote us a amazing essay called Bugger Feature, Will Skynet Be Racist? And that is up on the Kickstarter campaign now as well. For anyone who backs, you can go and get your eyes on that. And help us get more towards those stretch goals so that we can get that guest forward by Martha Wells, a Q&A by Ogenechave, and then we also have up there now a new essay after all of that by Alex White. So if you enjoy any of their work on Aliens or the Salvagers trilogy, um, they wrote a very interesting piece on the Chat GPT phenomenon going around right now and the intersection of artistry and technology. That's quite timely. So go check that out, and we'll see you later.
You sounded unsure.
I
Like,
I
well,
realized
He's
that
like, we'll see you later unless Skynet bombs us out of existence.
I realized that I don't usually do the closing, and I was like, oh no, this feels wrong. This is Leslie's job, but I was too deep. I was too deep into it. I took it from you. So,
fine. That's all right.
um, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This was so
Thanks
fun.
for being here.
Yeah.
Definitely.